What are the stupidest bike upgrades people buy? Here's 9 of the worst. Oversized pulley wheels. You've probably seen these big fancy oversized looking pulley wheels retrofitted to people's derailleurs. Yeah, they look cool, I guess. But if you're looking for a performance upgrade, the gains are minuscule. The idea is to reduce drivetrain friction with a larger diameter pulley wheel. This is why pro cyclists often opt for a massive front chainring. The less friction you have, the faster you go for the same effort. But if you're using one of these, best case, you're going to be saving about 3 watts. Most of these come in at £400 to £500, but some of them right up to £1,500 for a special edition. There's ceramic versions, knockoff versions from AliExpress. I'd avoid these at all costs. There's versions with a fairing, so even more aerodynamic, allegedly. None of them are going to give you that much return on your investment. The stock jockey wheels that come on higher end group sets are really good these days. The new SRAM Red even has an oversized one now. Add to this, you're probably going to be reducing the quality of your shifting at the rear derailleur if you install one of these, because they're not designed to work with these third-party modifications. Of course, if you love how they look and you really want to buy one, go for it. It's your bike, and that goes for everything in this list. But from a performance perspective, you might want to look at things like aero clothing, aero wheels, your own bike position, or even chain lube before looking at really expensive upgrades like this. Ceramic bearings. There's a few places on your bike you're going to find bearings. In your headset, at your bottom bracket, in your wheels, and the pulley wheels. Anywhere that needs to spin. On modern bikes, most of them are now sealed and they'll look like this. They're full of little ball bearings that roll across an outer race. This movement causes some friction and they slowly wear out either due to that friction or from crap getting inside and speeding up the process via corrosion. Enter the solution. Ceramic bearings. Generally much more resistant to corrosion and lower friction. Problem is, with the exception of your jockey wheels, all ceramic bearings have a race made of steel still, which is softer than the ceramic ball bearings, so they just wear a groove or pit the race of the bearing. So you end up wearing out your bearing anyway, and there's not really money well spent. Especially when you look at the prices. Now, there are some exceptions here. Enduro make a ridiculously priced bearing called the XD15, which breaks these rules. I can only assume they're using witchcraft. It's made out of nitrogen-infused steel and for some reason never wears out, but you're paying a massive premium for this as well. Again, this one comes down to return on investment, and it's a very, very small watt saving. I'd suggest leaving anything ceramic till last if you're upgrading parts on your bike. And if you do it, make sure the warranty is good, because it's probably going to wear out at some point anyway. 3D printed saddles. Just because it's 3D printed doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable. A few brands make 3D printed versions of their saddles. Specialized make a Power and the Roman. Physique make versions of their Antares and the Argo. Celitalia do versions of their fantastic Boost SLR. The manufacturing process means they can make some bits of the saddle harder and some softer with this weird honeycomb structure, which kind of makes my skin crawl a bit. It's cool technology, but it's so expensive. So I just don't think it's worth the upgrade. We're talking £120 more for the 3D printed version of the Boost SLR versus the top-end carbon version, which is the one I have here, and the 3D printed version is 44 grams heavier than this one. After filming about 1 million bike fit videos with my friend James, who's a bike fitter, it's clear that a good starting point for a saddle is a fairly flat traditional saddle with a large cutout in the middle, pressure relief channel. Something like the Boost SLR, Specialized Roman, Pro Griffin, or women's favorite, the Ergon SR, those are fantastic starting points. Try one of those if you're struggling before resorting to the really expensive 3D printed stuff. Next on my list of stupid bike upgrades is cycling specific cleaning products, because they are all more expensive than they should be. I won't include brands here because I don't want to get sued, but based on the RRPs, you'd be paying 47% more for a cycling specific version of the water displacer GT85, which you can get from most hardware stores, or 78% more for a cycling specific bike wash when you could just buy some car shampoo from Toolstation. Of course, the formulas will be slightly different, but how much difference does it really make? Even washing up liquid works great for cleaning a bike. And no, the salts in washing up liquid are not the type that are going to scratch your paintwork. Biodegradable car shampoo is a fantastic bet, and you can buy a big 5 litre thing of it that will last ages for not very much money. Carbon bottle cages. Carbon fibre is a fantastic material and we see it used a lot in the world of cycling. But there are some things that shouldn't be made of carbon fibre, and bottle cages is one of them. I've broken many. Anywhere where a surface is moving over another surface probably shouldn't be made of carbon. It doesn't abrade well, so it starts to break down and turn to powder very quickly. It will probably either crack or snap. Every time you put a bottle in a bottle cage and remove it, it causes friction. Add to this the fact that if you're in an intense race situation or you're in a fast chain gang and your aim is not very good, you're going to break it. It's worth noting here that a lot of brands have a hybrid material. When they say carbon, it's actually a mix of nylon and carbon, and those ones are significantly better. If you have carbon bottle cages and they've lasted really well, that's probably the case. Check the manufacturer's website, see if you can work out what they're really made of before you make a purchase. The words full carbon is probably a red flag. Final note here, there's nothing wrong with a plastic bottle cage. Some of them are really light these days, and if you want something that really holds your bottle tight, a steel cage and you can bend them in works really well too. A few brands to look at who make great bottle cages would be Specialized, Elite, Tax, and Topic. Carbon chainrings. A race day item for good reason. This is on my list for a lot of the same reasons as carbon bottle cages. Yes, you're probably going to save a few grams, and yeah, you probably can find some really aerodynamic chainrings made out of carbon. But it's a terrible material to make a chainring out of. Now, I'm talking specifically chainrings where the teeth are made of carbon fibre. This doesn't apply to hybrid chainrings where the base of the chainrings is carbon fibre and the teeth are still made of alloy. The carbon fibre teeth will abrade quickly, and as you shift or ride, they'll eventually wear away or they'll chip off. The tips of the teeth are usually the first thing to go, even on an aluminium chainring. What happens then? Well, you could drop your chain, or your front shifting will just stop working properly. These are really a race day item because the lifespan of a carbon chainring will be a few hundred miles. So, if you want some gains, just buy some aero socks instead. Super expensive, low friction chains. Here's another one where your return on investment is very low. And it's a consumable. Perhaps it's a thing for race day, but on the whole, you're better off buying lots of cheaper chains and replacing them more often than dropping loads of money on one super fast chain, which, to be honest, you're going to start wearing out anyway. All of those gains go out the window when your nice fancy chain starts to get dirty and rusty. It's easy to get sucked into the data and the marketing claims, and I'm sure there's some very fast and well-made chains out there. But it's again a thing you want to save till last. And there's some much more impactful upgrades you can make first. For example, getting a good fitting skin suit. Pre-glued patch kits. I always take a spare inner tube, a pump, and an inner tube patch kit when I ride. But not all patch kits are created equal. Pre-glued patch kits are Alright, this one isn't strictly an upgrade, but I wanted to put this in here because it might save someone a lot of hassle, standing by the side of the road in the rain multiple times on a ride, because the pre-glued patches don't stick properly. For 30 seconds more effort, use a patch kit with a separate little tube of glue that you stick on, and the glue actually works, so your patches stick on really securely. You won't puncture again 2 miles down the road, you'll have peace of mind on your ride, and your friends won't hate you. Last on today's list is a bike upgrade to save till last. One more gear. Upgrading your group set from 11 speed to 12 speed with no other extra benefits. Okay, if you're going from Shimano Tourney up to Shimano Claris and getting rid of those horrible shifters where the buttons are in the wrong place and you can't reach them properly, yes, that's a worthy upgrade. But if you're upgrading from Ultegra 11 speed to Ultegra 12 speed, and they're both electronic, and really all you're getting is one more gear, it's not really worth it. It's not going to change how your bike feels to ride, and it's not going to change your life. We've done a few Versus style videos where we've tested identical bike setups with different group sets on. And what that has taught us is that group set can be saved to one of the last things you upgrade. A good frame and wheels feels fantastic despite the group set installed. Of course, you don't want something that's going to clunk around or fall apart, but at the performance end of the group set spectrum, it really is diminishing returns. And in a lot of cases, you're not getting much more than the extra gear. A lot of the mid-range group sets are incredible now. SRAM Apex 1 was fantastic. I rode it the length of Malaysia, faultless. The latest Shimano Tiagra is fantastic, although their range is going to be replaced by Shimano Qs at some point soon. Save yourself some money on that purchase, and when you have to upgrade cassettes and chains as well, because the less speed you have, the cheaper that's going to be. That's the end of my list of stupidest bike upgrades. And like I mentioned at the start of the video, you can still upgrade them. It's your bike. But think about the order you do things in. Have you made any stupid upgrades? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to this channel for more.